Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafting with Slavie, where we make cards and other paper crafts. In today's card video, we're going to make a really quick and easy, beautiful card for your holiday card making using the Picket Fence Studios Candlelight Stencil, which I also got last year and never got a chance to use it, so I'm going to use it today. I am using Nina Reentry Red cardstock here, cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and my Make Art Station to hold everything down. And I am putting DecoFoil transfer gel in Blanco onto this stencil. I am mass producing these cards. I think I made about 8 of them, so I definitely switched the palette knife to a different one that I have. A spatula would work as well, just something that's super easy. There's some large spots on this stencil, so it's helpful to be able to deliver them smoothly. Then I set those aside to dry for about an hour to 2 hours. You don't want to let it sit for more than 12. And then I took out my gold DecoFoil and I cut it down to the size of the panel and saved the scraps for other foiling. And I got out my Laminator. My Laminator is super basic from Amazon, and it's got the lights there. You can see that it's got the 5mm and the 3mm. I switched it to the 3mm. You don't really need it at the 5mm for foiling like this. And I used some parchment paper as my carrier for all of these little guys, and they're all prepped and ready to go, just held down with some washi tape. And when they went through, I just set them off to the side, and I will show you here shortly what they look like. Look at that gorgeousness. And of course, because my paper is only 65 pounds, it's kind of ripped a little bit in the back, but that's okay. Then I decided that I actually wanted a little bit more contrast on the edges, so I went in with Fired Brick Distress ink. You can go in with whatever is a little bit darker than your paper. If you want it to be more dramatic, you can go in with something a little bit darker than I did. And one thing that I didn't do, but I probably should have, is I didn't actually wipe the ink off the foil. So when I attached it to my card bases here, you'll see that it actually came off of the foil onto the mat, which was fine. I just wiped it off after every card that I adhered, and that seemed to work just fine. Now, for my sentiment, I am using the Simon Says Stamp Large Written Merry Christmas dies here, which come with a shadow die as well as the actual sentiment. So I cut it out of white cardstock twice for each of these, and one time out of gold cardstock to put over top of vellum. And I really love how this ended up looking, especially because it was a lot of gold and red, but it's a very simple design and it ended up working really, really well. The cards were stunning, and they made a good impression for Christmas, so no complaints from me. When that was done, to attach it to the vellum, I just used my art glitter glue here, and I used a little bit of dots, a little bit of smooth motion, but you got to be careful that you don't have too much gunkiness, so that when you adhere it to the vellum, you don't have any glue coming out anywhere funky. And then when it came time to adhere it to the card here, I administered the glue in a similar way, but just where the sentiment, the white cardstock is there, through the vellum, again, so you couldn't see it through the vellum. Vellum is a very tricky type of paper to use. You want to make sure that the glue doesn't show through or figure out a way to hide it. I know that there's some very creative ways of how to adhere vellum out there on the internet, so you know, there's no shortage. And then I used my T-square ruler just to kind of get an idea of whether or not my sentiment was straight on the card. And I love how it turned out. The glue came up a little bit. I did use spray adhesive, I forgot to mention that. And there you go, just a really quick and simple card. You can add a little bit of embellishing if you want in the form of some sequins. I didn't think that it needed it. There was just so much sparkle on this card. I just loved it the way that it was, so I left it like that. Thanks so much for joining me today. I will see you in the next one.